Level 1. The visitor. It starts with boredom, the way most dangerous things do. You download the browser on a Tuesday night because you've watched one too many videos with dramatic red thumbnails and capital letters screaming about the hidden internet. You're not scared. You're not desperate. You're just the kind of person who, when told a door exists, has to know what's behind it. The installation takes 4 minutes. You sit in the dark, the glow of your monitor painting the walls pale blue. Then you're in. And your first thought is, that's it? No neon, no pulsing graphics, no sense that you've crossed some digital border into forbidden territory. Just plain text on black backgrounds, loading slowly, like the internet in 2003. Pages that look like they were designed by someone who specifically didn't want them to look designed. Warnings in broken English scattered everywhere like graffiti. Trust no one. Use escrow. Law enforcement is everywhere. You start clicking. Drug marketplaces, privacy forums, hacking tutorials, weapons listings that make you stop scrolling for just a beat longer than you expected. Not because you want anything, just because the existence of it sits heavy in a way you didn't anticipate. Nobody knows you're here. No algorithm tracking your clicks. No profile being built in some server farm in Virginia. You are genuinely, completely invisible, and the feeling is stranger than you expected. Not empowering, more like standing in a room where everyone has their back turned. You read threads for hours, vendors accusing buyers of being undercover, buyers accusing vendors of being scammers, everyone accusing everyone constantly, endlessly. Every new username that appears gets treated like a potential threat. Paranoia isn't a bug here, it's the operating system. You don't post, you don't buy, you don't even hover over anything too long. You just read. But here's what surprises you most. The chaos isn't actually chaotic. Underneath all of it, there are rules, invisible ones, unwritten ones, but rules. Reputation means everything. Anonymity is treated like a living thing that needs to be protected and fed. People here are careful in ways that ordinary people never have to be. You close the laptop around 2 a.m. You tell yourself, curiosity satisfied, done. You open it again the next night. This time, you create a username.
Level 2. The lurker. A username is a small thing. A handful of characters. Means nothing. Except here, it means you've chosen to exist. You start cautiously. A reply here, a vague question there. Nothing that identifies you. Nothing that commits you to anything. You're testing the water temperature before you get in. The responses you get back aren't warm. They're probes. New account. Low rep. Probably a Fed. Every stranger is guilty until proven otherwise, and proof takes time to build. So you observe instead. You study vendor reviews the way some people study stock portfolios. 5-star ratings with detailed notes. 3-star warnings with specific complaints. Long threads where buyers describe packages that never arrived, and vendors respond with tracking numbers and delivery confirmations. Screenshots traded back and forth like evidence in a trial. You realize something that changes how you see the entire ecosystem. Reputation isn't just social currency here, it's the only currency. A vendor with 1,000 positive reviews can charge double and still get buyers. A vendor with 0 reviews, no matter how good their product actually is, doesn't exist in any meaningful way. The dispute resolution system fascinates you. A buyer claims he received nothing. The vendor posts a blockchain confirmation. Screenshots multiply. A moderator appears, reads everything, makes a ruling. Escrow releases. It's more structured than most legal systems you've interacted with. Colder, too. There's no sympathy here, no benefit of the doubt, only evidence and precedent. You learn the architecture slowly. Forums feed markets, markets feed vendors. Vendors are managed by moderators. Moderators answer to admins nobody has ever seen post publicly. It's a hierarchy dressed up as anarchy. Then the disappearances start. A username that posted yesterday is simply gone today. No farewell message, no explanation, just an absence where a person used to be. Rumors circulate in hushed threads.
Arrested in Hamburg, server seized, exit scammed his buyers and ran. Sometimes there's no rumor at all, just silence stretching out until everyone forgets the name existed. You notice that no one grieves openly. They just adjust, recalculate, move on. You are 2 weeks deep when the message arrives. Short, direct, from an account with an old join date and very few posts, which you've learned is actually a good sign. The flashy accounts are the ones trying too hard. You seem smart. You looking to earn? You stare at it for a long time. Then you close the tab, walk to your kitchen, and drink a glass of water. And then you go back and stare at it some more. Level 3. The Middleman. You don't answer for 3 days. Not because you're scared, because you've learned that waiting is its own kind of signal. Urgency is suspicious. Patience is respected. When you finally reply, you keep it short and deliberately vague. Depends on what that means. What it means, it turns out, is simple. He doesn't need you to sell anything, doesn't need you to ship anything. He needs you to connect people. You already know who's reliable. You've spent weeks building a mental map of this place. You know which vendors deliver clean and fast. You know which buyers pay without drama. He just wants you to introduce them to each other. You don't touch product. You don't touch data. You move information and you take a percentage. First deal, $300 transaction. Your cut, 5%, $15. The number is almost embarrassing, but when the crypto confirms in your wallet, irreversible, untraceable, just there, something shifts. It's not about the $15. It's about what the $15 proves. This is real. This works. Second deal, $60. Third, fourth, fifth. The numbers start climbing. By the end of the month, you're clearing $800, then $1,500, then months where you break $2,000 without trying particularly hard. But the pressure arrives alongside the income, and they scale together. When a deal goes sideways, both parties contact you. When a vendor disappears mid-transaction, the buyer blames you. When a buyer disputes in bad faith, the vendor assumes you set it up. Your inbox becomes a place you approach carefully, the way you'd approach something that might bite. You develop rules. Never promise outcomes. Never guarantee someone else's trustworthiness. Never introduce accounts that feel rushed or hungry. You turn down deals that carry that particular smell of desperation, and you stay studiously neutral when disputes erupt around you. But here's the thing nobody tells you about money. It doesn't just change your bank balance. It changes how you see yourself. One evening, you open your wallet and the number reads $4,870, all from referrals. You didn't sell anything illegal. You didn't threaten anyone. You didn't even participate directly in a single transaction. You just stood in the center and let value flow through you and took your cut. The center, that's the thought that catches, not the edges. The edges are where people get caught, get desperate, get sloppy. The money isn't at the edges. It's at the center where everything connects. You start thinking about how big the center could get if you built it yourself. Level 4. The Verified Vendor. You study for 3 weeks before you list anything. You watch which vendors last and which ones vanish. The pattern is obvious once you see it. The loud ones burn fast. The reliable ones compound. Reputation here behaves like interest. It accumulates slowly at first, then suddenly becomes the most valuable thing you own. You launch under a clean account. No connection to your middleman profile, no shared patterns, no mutual contacts. New name, new branding, as if you'd never been here before. Your first week, 1 order, then 3, then 10. You over-deliver on everything. You add small extras. You respond within minutes at any hour. You refund small complaints before they become disputes, even when the buyer is wrong, because a 5-star review from a difficult customer is worth more than being right. You treat your rating like it's the only organ keeping you alive, because here it essentially is. 3 months in, you cross 100 sales, all 5 stars. Detailed reviews from buyers describing you as professional, consistent, trustworthy. Your monthly revenue hits $12,000, then $18,000. Then a month where it spikes past $30,000 and you have to sit down. You never leave your apartment anymore. You don't need to. But success has a shadow and it arrives quietly. You catch yourself checking door reflections before you enter rooms. You stop using your home Wi-Fi. You rotate between public networks, then abandon those too. Too many cameras nearby. You move apartments not because anything happened, but because you've read enough raid accounts to understand that preparation and paranoia are the same activity with different names. Old vendors you'd respected, accounts with years of history and thousands of flawless reviews, disappear without warning, arrested in their bedrooms, doxxed by rivals, or simply gone, escrow and all, leaving buyers with nothing and questions with no answers. Each disappearance recalibrates something in you. You move funds to cold storage. You memorize your seed phrases until they feel like prayers. Your world shrinks to one screen. You sleep at dawn. You live at night. You stop being able to explain your schedule to people who ask, so you stop talking to people who ask. Then a moderator's message appears in your inbox. Interested in helping with disputes? You read it twice, then a third time, because this isn't a business opportunity. This is an invitation to go deeper.
Level 5, the moderator. You wait 12 hours before you respond. One sentence, I'm interested. The guidelines arrive in a plain block of text. No pleasantries, no contract, no names. The rules are simple. Remain neutral, review evidence, release or hold escrow. Never take sides publicly, never leak internal communication. That's it. That's the entire job description. Then your dashboard changes, and you understand why this matters. New tabs appear: dispute queue, escrow control panel, vendor strike history, private admin chat. You can see everything now. Orders mid-transaction, complaints before they surface publicly, vendors sending private messages begging for deadline extensions, buyers threatening to escalate. The market's entire nervous system visible at once. The money is immediate and significant. 10% of dispute fees plus a monthly stipend. Your income crosses $80,000 in the first month, then $110,000. Not from selling, not from shipping, from controlling trust, from being the person who decides whose story gets believed. You develop a method. You read every message log twice. You check timestamps against wallet confirmations. You look for the small inconsistencies. The buyer who claims non-delivery but whose crypto address shows receipt. The vendor whose screenshots were clearly edited. You get good at it faster than you expected because people under pressure lie in predictable ways. But power reveals things. You start seeing the architecture beneath the architecture. Accounts defending each other suspiciously fast. Alt accounts running coordinated smear campaigns against competitors. Vendors who always win disputes, not because they're right, but because they know how to file them correctly. The marketplace isn't a free market, it's a managed one, and someone has always been managing it. You're just now inside the management layer. Then, one night, flagged in a routine review, an unusual pattern of purchases. Multiple vendors, multiple product categories, all from a new account with a history that's too clean. Every transaction well within normal range. Nothing to report technically, except that it's exactly what a methodical undercover build would look like. You bring it up in admin chat. The response comes back within minutes. Monitor only, do not engage. You close the chat and sit in the dark for a while. Because monitor only means they already know. And if they already know, they've already decided how much risk is acceptable. Which means someone above you is making calculations you're not part of. You add a second device to your rotation. You start varying your login hours deliberately, different times each day, no pattern. You assume someone is watching your behavioral fingerprint, building a map of when you sleep, when you work, how long your sessions run. And above your dashboard, there's still another layer, the administrators, the ones who own the infrastructure, who hold escrow at scale, who decide on any given morning whether this market continues to exist. You haven't met them, but you're starting to think about them constantly.
Level 6, the administrator. The owner doesn't announce his departure. He simply stops responding. One morning, the admin account goes quiet, and within hours, the private chats are fractured with panic. Vendors demanding answers, moderators pointing fingers, buyers threatening mass withdrawals. $8 million a month flows through this market, and without someone's hand on the controls, all of it is suddenly at risk. The vote is fast and happens quietly. You're chosen not because you're the longest serving or the loudest. You're chosen because in a world built on reputation, yours has never cracked. Your access upgrades overnight. Server logs, cold wallet keys, escrow master controls, back-end analytics that show you the real numbers for the first time, not the revenue you'd seen before, the actual flows, millions per day, dozens of wallets moving simultaneously. Your percentage drops to 4, but 4% of this is more than you've ever imagined holding. $300,000 in an average month, $400,000 when volume spikes. You don't celebrate, you get to work. Level 8, the architect. You start planning the exit the same way you built everything else, quietly, methodically, with no single move large enough to trigger attention. The signs are accumulating. They always accumulate before a market falls. More phishing attempts than usual. A mid-level moderator arrested in a city you'd seen him log in from. Vendors cashing out faster than their sales volume justifies, which means someone told them something. You've read this chapter before in other markets' autopsies. You know how it ends. So you begin. Escrow structures adjusted slightly, more liquidity available for withdrawal, framed as an upgrade for user convenience. Small fund movements, percentage by percentage, buried inside the normal volume like a fish hidden in a school of fish. You run maintenance windows to test how quickly users panic, how fast volume drops when access is interrupted. You're gathering data for a departure you haven't formally decided to take yet. Except you have decided. You decided the night you got that photo. You've just been building the nerve to admit it. The number you're sitting on, $22 million in escrow at peak volume. If you move cleanly and fast, you capture most of it before anyone understands what's happening. Some will be in transactions, some locked in disputes. You'll leave that behind. 19, maybe 20 million, liquid, yours. You think about the moderators who trusted you, the vendors who built their livelihoods inside a structure you control. You think about buyers who have funds sitting in escrow right now, waiting on deliveries, waiting on rulings, waiting on you. You don't feel good about it. But feeling good stopped being part of the calculation a long time ago. You schedule a server migration, routine, documented, announced in advance. You lock new registrations citing security maintenance. You post a calm statement. Temporary downtime, funds are secure, back within 48 hours.